Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Monday Project call. It is Monday, March 25th, the last Monday meeting of March. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We're going to open with some friends of Mozilla. The first is a very big thank you to Hal Wine, who is in his volunteer capacity created the script and led the GitHub owners communication needed to support the code of conduct standards in Mozilla GitHub repos. Thank you, Hal. Let's give him a round of applause. And the developer relations team would like to give a big thank you to Mozilla Tech speakers Shagufta, Kalyan, Robert, Candy, and Vishwaprasath, who gave talks this past week at various conferences, events around the globe. Thank you for helping to spread the message about Mozilla and the open web. We've got a few events coming up this week. Oops, I need to reload here. The first is the add-ons community meeting on Wednesday, March 27th at 15:30 UTC. That's 8:30 a.m. Pacific time in the ACE video room. Also on Wednesday, Mitchell Baker will be keynoting at El País Retina in Madrid about the open internet and healthy societies. I'll add a link to that item after the meeting. Later events and available tickets. Last week we mentioned FITC Toronto, FOSS North, and CSS Day. We've got a few additional upcoming events to add to that list. Write the Docs 2019, Circle CityCon 2019, Layers 2019, and Codeland 2019. If you're interested in attending any of these events, please reach out to Anna. There's an email in the wiki, and you can get details from her. And with that, we move on to our speakers. We've got a great slate of updates coming to you from across the Mozilla project. First up is Emma Irwin with an open source, innovation team update on the code of conduct at GitHub.
Great, thank you. I'm just waiting for my slides to share. There they are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Emma Irwin. I work on the open innovation team focused on diversity and inclusion in open source, and I'm here to talk to you today about the code of conduct.md file rollout for Mozilla GitHub repos. A quick background, late last year we updated the Mozilla Community Participation Guidelines and added a how to report page to mozilla.org. So definitely if you haven't already checked out the how to report page, do so because it's very much connected to this work and a healthy community. And did you know that the majority of Mozilla's public GitHub repos fall into one of these three categories? There is no code of conduct at all. The code of conduct is outdated, so the update that we did in November is not represented in the code of conduct text, or there are just variously information scattered in READMEs and contributing files about how to report. So there's been no standard right now, and it's actually very hard for people to understand exactly how to escalate issues of community health. So to get on the same page, we worked with legal and Hal Wine, who's been part of the shout out earlier, to enforce basically that all GitHub repos now use our standard. So that's all public GitHub repos, not forked and not Rust and Servo for some people that may have triggered something. This is now a new standard. This is good for projects. This makes sure that your projects are supported by processes and frameworks already in place to help people report. And of course, it's good for the people that are coming to your project, including, of course, the people and staff working on it. What it looks like is going to be a pull request to every single Mozilla repo. Again, not Rust, not forks, not Servo. And it will be a simple file. It has two parts. One is how to report, and one is basically a link to the participation guidelines. Having these link out mean that you're not responsible or have to worry about constantly updating the information for reporting, and that it links out to current content. At the bottom of the screen, I'm not sure if this translates well, you'll see that there's a commented out piece called project specific etiquette. So if there are specific things that your project wants to add about how to participate there, what healthy community interactions look like specific to your project, then you can add them there. And that's coming this week to all Mozilla repos starting Wednesday. The script that Hal Wine has written will probably take a few days because there's limits with how much GitHub will let us do. But definitely look for those. If you have questions, reach out to myself. And we look forward to having a standard that everyone can rely on. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Next up, we have me with your Firefox Weekly Update. Firefox 66.0.1 is our current stable release. The major new version shipped last week and brings blocking of autoplay for media with sound, scroll anchoring, touch bar support on Mac, default of 8 content processes up from 4, redesigned certificate error pages, and support for Windows Hello on Windows 10. We had a quick point release, the 0.1, that came out in response to a couple of security issues disclosed at the Pwn to Own contest. Our turnaround time on that was, as usual, amazing. Thank you to the security team who attended and monitors those events, as well as the developers who came up with the fixes and all of the people involved in pushing that release out to our end users. Firefox 67 is in the beta channel and moves to the stable channel on May 14th. Tomorrow is the 5th of 16 betas. Firefox 68 is in the nightly channel, and it moves to stable on July 9th. Over the last week, there have been nearly 500 bugs resolved as fixed, including these notable ones. First, we've adjusted the available memory tracker threshold to minimize out-of-memory crashes. Now that Firefox can smartly unload your tabs when you're short on memory, we're upping the definition of short on memory so that we a little sooner start to discard those tabs, and this will prevent crashes that come from running out of memory. The David decoder's been enabled for Linux. Last week it was enabled on Mac, the week before on Windows. So we now have David decoding on all of our Tier 1 desktop platforms. We've also updated the David decoder to version 0.2.1 for some serious performance improvements. That fixes a couple of crashes and should make decoding about 3 times faster, 300% performance improvement on many older CPUs. And if all goes well in testing, this update will be pushed to 67 beta, bringing the perf improvement to our users just a little bit sooner. Another evil traps bug got squashed. Evil traps are when websites take advantage of browser features to screw with you, to lock your browser, to throw a bunch of dialogues in your face, just to mess you over. They're evil sites, and these are evil traps bugs. We fixed it so that we block dialogue abuse at the top level frame instead of the sub-resource, and we reduce the number of allowed cancellations to 2. This should help users encountering those evil sites that are using authentication dialogues to attack the user. Firefox now has an entry point to access saved logins from the main menu. You can open up the main menu and there's a saved logins item. This change will also be uplifted to beta 67. Firefox now has a toolbar button and menu for easy discovery of Firefox accounts and sync capabilities. From the menu, you can quickly access your Firefox account and set tabs. You can view your sync tabs and sync tab sidebar, and you can connect to another device, manage your account, and change your settings. We've enabled web render for a new class of AMD GPUs, the North Islands graphic chips. Those started coming out in 2010, so we're working on expanding the number of devices that web render is running on. We fixed a regression causing Office 365's PowerPoint text to vanish after typing. The change is being evaluated for uplift into beta and stable release as we shipped this minor regression. It's a pref flip, so hopefully it should be a safe change to ship. Gecko View now has support for web app manifests. This is a step along the way to PWA support in Phoenix, the upcoming Android browser. We now require a user gesture to enable push notifications. You know when you visit a website and the first thing it does is pop up a dialog saying, do you want notifications? And no, you don't want notifications most of the time. So sites can no longer pop that dialog up when you first load the page. You have to interact with the page before they're allowed to pop up that dialog. This change applies to desktop Firefox and on Mac, Windows, and Linux, and also Android Firefox. Firefox for ARM64 devices now have IonJIT support. This is a nice performance improvement. It applies to both Windows on Snapdragon laptops as well as Firefox on Android 64. We now have live region support on Android. This ARIA accessibility feature allows screen readers to know when content has updated. Firefox on Windows on Snapdragon, the ARM64 laptops now support DRM content, so you can visit sites like Netflix. This was a heroic effort by C. Pierce and others to essentially load in the 32-bit x86 module into the ARM64 parent process. It sounded kind of crazy when I first heard about it, but it worked. I tested Netflix this morning, watched for a half hour. Nice way to kill the early morning wait while people shuffle into the office. And last but not least, we got a nice fix to reader mode from a volunteer contributor. The reader mode toolbar used to zoom when you zoomed the page using the page zoom controls, Command plus and Command minus. Now it's a little awkward to have your toolbar zoom with the page, so that no longer happens. That's it for the weekly Firefox update. Next up, we have Kelly Davis with the weekly ET update. We hope.
Yes, time zones and things like this. So basically I'm going to give the ET update, and because I'm a lazy person, I've gotten our text-to-speech engine to actually speak for me. So hopefully if all the audio goes through and this is not tested, you'll hopefully hear it. So let's see.
Breathing while speaking. Last week, we highlighted recent work our machine learning group has done to integrate a new realistic-sounding human-like voice in our text-to-speech engine, which hopefully you had a chance to listen to. This week, we can share a further update on the quality of our speech synthesis, adding the ability to emulate when humans breathe while talking. Listen here after the word voice and see what you think. Assembly using glue. Rust and WebAssembly continue to come together, in part because they can be combined to build small components that can be woven into a much larger JavaScript application, as well as creating whole new web applications using Rust and WebAssembly from the ground up. The Rust/WASM working group announced a new initiative to build Glue, a modular toolkit that can support that wide range of creative approaches, all by selecting just the right subset of libraries that suit your needs. This is a key component of the working group's 2019 roadmap, and they'd welcome contributions, especially at this early stage. Horizon 2020 grant. The Machine Learning Group, in partnership with 4 European universities, Edinburgh, Sheffield, Charles and Tartu, secured a €3 million grant from the EU to produce an open neural machine translation engine to translate between all 24 of the official EU languages. This grant, Project Bergamot, also funds extending Firefox with this engine. In addition, the translation engine will run on device, enhancing users' privacy and security, as their sensitive documents need not be sent to a server that's out of their control.
That's it. Thank you.
That was pretty amazing. I am constantly surprised and amazed at the quality of these text-to-speech work that we've got going. Next up, and our last presenter of the day, we have Andrew Krug coming to us with the IT Minute.
It's time for the Weekly Minute Update, where we tell you all the things IT is doing to empower Mozillians in their mission to keep the web a global... It's time for the Weekly Minute Update, where we tell you all the things IT is doing to empower Mozillians in their mission to keep the web a global public resource, open and accessible to all. Our first update today comes from the IAM project. The InfoSec and Open Innovation teams completed work on the real-time linkage between the project codenamed DinoPark and other systems. This is the final piece to allow user profile updates from the LDAP and HRIS systems. DinoPark is scheduled to launch at the end of Q1 and will replace phonebook.mozilla.org for community members and staff. On launch, DinoPark will deliver similar features as the current phonebook and several new features to give users more individual control of the data stored in DinoPark. Next up, the Enterprise Information Security team has completed a rollout of the updated incident response roles to 100% of enterprise AWS accounts. These rules will allow the security team to jump in and assist you more quickly when you have a security incident. In addition to those, a new feature was delivered at the same time to boost threat detection capabilities. The product, known as AWS Guard Duty, was rolled out to 100% of accounts, giving us comprehensive visibility into a variety of threats across all AWS regions. Additionally, I'm glad to close the loop this week on the event board experiment by reporting that the crusade to eliminate zombie meetings in Europe has successfully freed up 36 hours of conference room time by removing 24 recurring meetings. Hopefully, that will be coming to some of our West Coast offices soon. Again, any feedback for that goes to Pound Event Board Experiment on Slack. Finally, I'll leave you with a quick update from Andy Kokendorfer on the Air Mozilla redesign.
Hi there, Andy here with the new Airmo UI. You'll notice that we've simplified things considerably, made it easier for you to find upcoming items, along with the ability to add them to your calendar directly from the facing page, or share them out to copy a link directly, throw it into Slack, email it, or off to LinkedIn or Twitter. We also have recent events here. You can surf back directly, just keep loading recent events if you had something in the last few days that you wanted to look at, or you can look at all of the events in a calendar view, or you can change that to a weekly view to make it easier for you. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a hamburger. If you click on that, you can see your recent channels, places that you've recently been looking at content. And if you click on any of the channels, you'll see the channel page is much cleaner. It gives you an easy way to search for content, whether it's upcoming or past. And if you click into an event, a webcast, it's also been greatly simplified. You again have the share icon from here. You can add it to your personal watch list if it's something you want to watch later. There's also a browse section over here where the system looks at popular content and makes suggestions for you based on the content that other people in the tenant have been watching. There's a share or a search item here in the upper right-hand corner, as well as profile items, so you can look at your watch list and make changes to your own personal profile still. We hope that you like the new Air Mozilla UI. We worked hard to simplify it and make it easier for you to use.
Thanks, Andy. I know I'm excited to try out the new UI. That's the minute. See you next week.
Thank you, Andrew and Andy, for the update. I'm going to do a quick reload to see if anything else has come onto the speaking agenda. It doesn't look like it. So with that, we will move to the closing part of our day, which is new introductions. The first introductions we have are coming from San Francisco, starting with an intro from Nick Chapman.
Hello there, everyone. Happy Monday. Tawanda, you can come up here. So I'm Nick Chapman. I head up product over at Pocket, and I'm excited to introduce you today to Tawanda Kanhema, who's joining us as a staff product manager. He'll be working on the Firefox New Tab project, which is a collaboration between the Pocket and Firefox teams. Tawanda has a really cool background, kind of at the intersection of journalism and technology. He was at the Al Jazeera Media Network most recently, working on their AJ Plus property here in San Francisco. Tawanda will be working out of our Pocket San Francisco office, and we're really excited to have him. So join me in welcoming Tawanda.
And next up, we have an introduction from Susan Chen in San Francisco. Catherine, are you here in Mountain View?
No, she's right here.
Oh, great.
Next
Sorry.
to me. Hi, everyone. So I am thrilled to announce that Catherine Bose has joined my team as Senior Director of Business Development. Some of you know that I've been looking for this role for about 6 months. It's probably one of the longest search that we've ever done, but we were looking for a very unique individual that combined a number of different things, everything from having sizable deal experience, but also having entrepreneurial background and a lot of product experience as well. So we finally found the perfect candidate in Catherine. And she's going to be based in Mountain View, but she's spending the first few weeks in San Francisco. So those of you that are here, please say hi to her. And then I'm going to let Catherine maybe talk a little bit about her background and why she's here.
Okay.
I'm putting her on the spot.
A little bit. Thanks, Susan. Hi, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. This is day 1 of week 2. And I'm starting to make the rounds to meet as many of you as I can. And I'm really excited to talk with the product teams, especially about new initiatives, new products and services. And I'm excited to dig in and get started. So as Susan mentioned, I do have a little bit of experience with startups, starting my own, working for startups, as well as large companies. So the company you would have heard of that I most recently worked for is TripAdvisor. So a lot of large deals in the search space, content space, distribution, and a lot with mobile. So I'm also pretty excited to work with the mobile product teams. So thanks for welcoming me. You all have been very warm and welcoming, and I appreciate it. Thanks.
Welcome, Catherine. And last but not least, we have Benson Wong coming to us from Vancouver with an introduction.
Hi, everybody. This is Tiff Tran. Today's her first day. She'll be joining us on the product delivery team and working on the experiments pipeline. Yeah.
And we have one more late-breaking introduction coming to you from Mountain View.
My apologies, Wiki wasn't updated. So I'm Greg Fodor. I'm from the social mixed reality team where we're working on Hubs, our web-based social mixed reality platform. I'm super excited to introduce Liv Erickson, who's joining us today as the PM for Hubs. Liv has been a part of the VR community for many years and has been an advocate and educator around WebVR and 3JS and A-Frame from the very early days. She spent the last several years focused on social VR, working at High Fidelity developing content and experiences within their open source distributed metaverse, touching on all aspects of the critical area of first-time user experience, as well as building all other cool stuff like an avatar shopping domain and an experience that lets you play in a garage band right in VR. With the upcoming release of standalone consumer VR headsets happening this year, this is a pivotal moment for VR on the web and Mozilla's mixed reality initiative in emerging technologies. We're beyond excited to have someone as talented, experienced, and passionate about open web-based social VR as Liv to be joining us and helping us guide Hubs at this critical juncture. So please welcome Liv, and Liv, welcome to Mozilla.
Welcome, Liv. Thank you all for joining us for this weekly project update. We will see you next Monday, same time, same place. Until then, keep on rocking the free web.